Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Ne? Meanwhile, I'm still explaining to you what's going to happen in this video. So on this video, guys, I'm gonna helping you out with SCW 2601 under semester 1 2024 assignment 1. Ne? I have received a request from a few students asking for guide. So guys, subscribe. Ne? So let's get to it. Please make sure that you go through the instructions, because if I'm not doing this module, you might find out the lecture has sent you instructions via announcement or on a certain platform or somewhere. So please make sure that you read and understand those announcements. I'm to say those instructions if it has. So if this assignment requires you to do a cover page, if you're using a word app, you could just search creating cover page via or with word app. You can search on YouTube. Yeah, I think that on YouTube, you can search. You will find videos which people explain how do you create that thing. One thing that I like about word app is that it has well-designed cover pages. So what you have to do, you just find a beautiful cover page, you just remove whatever that is written there and put your information, and then everything is good. Yeah. So this assignment, guys, as I have explained, SCW 2601 assignment 1 for semester 1 2024. So it states that this assignment consists of 2 questions, and both questions must be answered, which means that we will. So guys, as you can see here, it is question 1. We're on question 1. So above these questions, I have seen that there's a picture there with a page. I get it. So it's not like we're not going to talk about it. It's there to help us to answer this thing again. So yeah, let's start. What type of source of law is this? Give 2 reasons for your answer and explain the purpose of this specific source depicted in the image above. So someone once said to me that whenever I make this kind of videos, I should explain or elaborate further so that you guys could understand. But I'm trying to make my videos short and simple. I don't want long videos, but I will try to accommodate you guys, because the important thing is for you guys to get a message. So guys, when they're talking about sources of law, they're talking about things that the government or the judiciary department can go to when it comes to improving the law. And we know that we cannot remove the law. So there are some certain things that they go and refer to when it comes to improving the law. So those are the sources of law. We know that the law cannot be removed. Other can be improved. Like for an example, let's say that there's a law which states that in every public building there has to be toilets, and then it's a good thing. Then the law passes, and then they announce every public building has to have public toilets. But along the way, they start to see danger with a certain specific gender safety is going to be in trouble or at risk or danger if we put these people in the same place and stuff like that. Then someone can come up with a new law which is going to amend that one. Then when it amends that one, they can say that every public place has to have a toilet, but this side is for men, this side is for women. So which means that women cannot go to men's bathroom, men cannot go to women's bathroom. That's how it gets amended. So the piece of paper that you see there on top, it is something that we call a gazette. A gazette is a paper or a page, or not just call it a page, because I don't know if when all those pages are together, do they call it a journal or what, or a book or what? But I normally know it as a gazette. Every law which is being amended, or every new law, or every law that is there in our government, it is written there on that thing. So when a law has to become effective, the parliament discuss it. Parliament members sit down together and discuss it. After discussing it, Then when they agree with name and this law has to, yeah, it is a good law, we are allowing it. Then after discussing it, they give it to the president. The president has the power to accept or reject. If the president rejects a law or whatever that they were discussing, it will never be on that thing that is called the Gazette. So everything that you see there on the Gazette, it has presidential approval. Yeah? So, but if the president was like, yeah, I agree, then they do that thing, they sign the Gazette. That's why they cannot arrest you or charge you with a crime without a law being there. If there's no law that is there in the Gazette, there's no way that they can charge you, because of if they were to charge you, which law did you break? So for this one, let me just answer this question. I do believe that I've explained it thoroughly. So go to 2.2.3, and then out of those things, the ones that I know is the constitution, legislation, case law, common law, administrative practice, which is customary, and then Ubuntu and international laws. So the correct one is the legislative. I'm to say legislation or statutes. It is there in your study guide on page 36, 2.2.3. So yeah, we're gonna see it, and then you're gonna see that it speaks about the Gazette. And then the other thing that gives you a hint whenever you see is this thing a Gazette or what, check at the top, the toppest line of that page. It's written Gazette. It is written Gazette, so there's no way that it is not a Gazette. So Gazette falls under legislation, because of legislation is that part whereby every rule has to be discussed there. Even if you say that, hey, free education must be discussed, it has to pass there. That's where it has to go. It has to be discussed. So a Gazette is something which is related to this thing of legislation. So it states that give 2 reasons for your answer and also explain the purpose of the specific what. So it has 3 points, and once it has 3 points, I don't understand when they are saying that give 2 reasons and what are they mean or what. But I do believe that you'll get a point for stating that it is a legislation. And then I think that if you explain that thing, it is there, it is a smaller paragraph, it is there on page 36. You will be explaining the purpose of this thing, and then you will give reasons. That smaller paragraph is very simple, just that I don't want to state, because of it's very simple to a point whereby if I say something, most of you guys are going to write the same thing, and then you're going to end up into in a lot of trouble. But if you just read that smaller paragraph, that English is not that tough. They're not even using Latins and stuff like that. You can understand, you can be able to see the definition and then the purpose of that thing, and then you'll be able to answer this what do you call it, again. So let's move to B. Okay, then we are on B. What branch of the government is responsible for adopting this source of law? What other power does this branch of government have with regard to this source of law? So under law, these things, normally when I was a FSC student, they used to say that these things are called separation of power. In the government, there's a separation of power. They don't believe that a certain department should hold too much power and stuff like that. They should all both be equal. Because if let's say that in our country we were to say that the president has all the power or too much power has concentrated on the president will never be prosecuted for any crime that he commits. That's the problem. Or a certain department which has too much power has the power to influence other decisions. It's more like your boss telling you that if you say something, I'm going to fire you and stuff like that. And then when you go to CCMA, or wherever, or a court and stuff like that, the person has influence to tell the person who is supposed to prosecute him or her to drop everything, and then they just drop it, you know. So this thing in our government, we have separation of power, which regulates everything. So which means that everything is not regulated by one thing, it is regulated by three things. Justice, it has its own thing. Parliament, it has its own thing. Creating and regulating the laws, it has its own thing. And then, so our side, we call it separation of power, but here you guys call it three branches of government. Yeah, we also call it three branches of government, but we focus on that thing of separation of power. Legislative authority is the power to create, amend, and repeal legal rules. Again, the other one is executive authority is the power to execute and enforce legal rules. And then we have judicial authority, which is the third branch of the government, applies to all three spheres of government, as the power to interpret legal rules and to apply such rules to concentrate, to concrete situations. So for this one, when we are looking at that thing at the top, that thing focuses on legislation, which is legislative authority. Go to page 21 in your study guide, you're gonna see it, and I do believe that if you define it, define what is legislative authority. Now on my side is that is the power to create, amend, and appeal legal rules. On your study guide it could be different, and then if maybe it does not give you enough, you can also go to Google and Google those other points, because of it also state what other powers does this branch of government have with regard to the source of law. So you can explain it. I do believe that you'll get a point. You state it, you get a point. You explain it, you get a point, and then you give another explanation or a purpose of this thing, and then I do believe that you'll be able to make that 3 points. So for number C state that which branch of government is responsible for enforcing the source, for enforcing this source of law, and what is its function. So now according to my CPD 1541 study guide, the only part which talks about enforcing is executive authority, because it states that is the power to execute and enforce legal rules. So according to how I understand this thing, legislative authority is the power to create, amend, and repeal the legal rules. So which means that this ones, they focus on making the laws and stuff like that, improving the laws and stuff like that. Since the laws cannot be abolished, they can be repealed. So this legislative, it focuses on creating the laws. And executive, it is the power to execute and enforce. So the executive is the one which enforces the law, which means that that's what the police or the law enforcement have to apply the legal duties based on the things that are there on the legislative source. And then judicial authority, which is the third branch of the government, it applies to all three spheres of government, is the power to interpret legal rules and to apply such rules to concentrated situations and stuff like that. So I think that judicial authority is just the middleman, the one that will be like, checking, oh, this one is abusing this one, and then this one is a victim, this one is a what, and then they will be like, hey, stop what you're doing, or give a person a warning, or give a person a fine, or be like, you know what, I do believe that you deserve some correctional service, what time there and stuff like that. So this one is more like judicially is more like a parent. And you know that when you are siblings and you are fighting, if the parent comes to you guys and says stop, obviously you're going to stop, unless if maybe you want to get panel beaten. So this one, judicial, I think that is the mother of everything, or the father of everything. So guys, yeah, which one enforces? According to me, I will take executive authority, because it's the power to execute and enforce the rules. Again, you're going to find it on page 21. Yeah, they're on the same one, page 21. And then I think that if you write the definition, guys, you can even Google the purpose of this thing, so that you can get enough points, because of the same 4 points. But I don't think that your state guide has those 4 points and stuff like that. So you can use Google. Then let's move to the other questions. Okay, now we are done with question 1. We move to question 2. Question 2A, discuss the difference between state advocate and state prosecutor. Yeah, this one is going to be challenging, but it is there. It is there. So according to my own understanding, I think that a state advocate is a legal representative from the government who is always on defending side. It's either this person is defending the government, or this person is defending a citizen. And then as for a prosecutor, I think that a prosecutor is always that person who would say, who would represent the government, or who would represent a citizen. Those people that like to say that you are guilty even if you are not guilty. Those people that like to question whatever that you have done, whether was it legal or not. In court, there are 2 tables. There's a table for the legal representative for that side. There's a table for legal representative for that side. I've never went to court. I don't know which one sit on which seat and stuff like that. But there's a table for people that we call the plaintiff. A plaintiff is a person who took the matter to court. Maybe let's say that you have a dispute with the government. You'll be the plaintiff if you go and then you lay a charge against the government. Or maybe let's say that you have a problem with your neighbor, and then you go to police to open a docket and stuff like that, so that the matter could be heard in court and stuff like that. So when you are taking your neighbor to court, you're going to be the plaintiff. So sometime you find out that when you are taking a person to court, you don't have money for a lawyer. So the law has to give you a legal representative. So according to me, is that if you are the one who's taking the matter to court, the law, when it gives you a legal representative, they're going to give you a prosecutor. But if let's say that your neighbor took you to court, your neighbor is the one who filed this case, and then you are the defendant in this case, which means that if let's say that you do not have a legal representative, the law will give you a state advocate. So state advocates, I could say that they work on that part of defending. It's either the government or individuals. And then the prosecutor, they are always there to question. They are always there to question what a suspect has done. They're always on that part of questioning what the suspect has done, because of the suspect will be the defendant, and then the victim will be the plaintiff. So on this one, guys, to keep it short and simple, go to 5.3.2 on page 65. You are gonna see it. Yes, page 65 up to 66. You're gonna see the difference and stuff. But if maybe the study guide does not give you like enough answers and stuff like that, you can also Google. But I do believe that it has enough answers. And then let's go to B. Okay, B state that explain the difference between a judge and a magistrate. Yeah, most students, they don't know the difference between these 2 people. The thing that I know about these two people is that they are presiding officers. When you get into court, they are presiding officers because of the preside over any matter which is brought forth or to them. Yeah? So the difference that I know is that judges, they work in high courts, going up, high court, constitutional court, court of supreme or supreme court. But as for magistrate, they work at lower courts, is either district or regional. Yeah? So yeah, but more answers are there on 5.2 and 5.3, because this thing, the first part or that other part, just that I forgot, but there's this other part which talks about magistrate, and then there's this other part which talks about judges. So once you know what is a judge and what do they do, you're going to find it different from what is a magistrate and what do they do, even though they are both presiding officers, but you're going to find the difference between these two. So 5.2.3 and 5.5.2 and 5.5.3 is going to answer everything for you. It is on page 67 up to 68. So focus on those bullet points or those points, and then you'll be able to answer.